Imagine this. You're sitting in your cozy living room, sipping a cup of tea or coffee, when suddenly the rain starts pounding harder than you've ever heard. The wind howls like a wild animal outside your window. You think it's just another storm. We've had worse. But deep down, a little voice whispers, "What if this time it's different?" That little voice is trying to save you. Hi, I'm Alex, and today I'm sharing a story that could be yours. It's about the day a flood turned my dream home into a nightmare, and how one word from my insurance company, minor, shattered everything. Stick around, because by the end, you'll know exactly how to protect yourself in 2025, when floods are hitting harder and more often than ever. If you've ever wondered why your policy doesn't cover what you think it should, this is for you. My name is Albert Thompson, and I live in a quiet suburb just outside Orlando, Florida. It's the kind of place where palm trees sway gently most days, and families like mine barbecue in the backyard on weekends. My wife Sarah and I bought our house 5 years ago. It was our first real home together, a 2-story colonial with a white picket fence, a swing set for our 7-year-old daughter Lily, and a kitchen where Sarah bakes her famous apple pies. We poured our savings into it, dreaming of holidays, lazy Sundays, and watching Lily grow up there. It wasn't fancy, but it was ours. We felt safe, secure, until September 2024, when Hurricane Elena slammed into the coast like a freight train. It started with the weather alerts on my phone. Beep, beep, beep. Tropical storm warning. Prepare for heavy rain and possible flooding. I laughed it off at first. Florida gets storms all the time. I sandbagged the doors, moved furniture upstairs, and we hunkered down with popcorn and movies. But as the night wore on, the rain didn't stop. It poured. Sheets of water hammered the roof, and thunder shook the walls. Around 2 a.m., Sarah nudged me awake. "Alex, the water, it's coming in." I stumbled downstairs in the dark, flashlight in hand, and there it was. Brown, murky water seeping through the floorboards, rising inch by inch. My heart sank. This wasn't a puddle. This was an invasion. We grabbed what we could: photo albums, Lily's stuffed bear, our laptops, and fled to the upstairs bedroom. From the window, I watched the street turn into a river. Neighbors' cars floated like toys. Sirens wailed in the distance. By morning, the water had reached 3 feet inside our home. It receded by afternoon, thanks to pumps from the fire department, but the damage was done. Soggy carpets peeled up like old skin. Walls bubbled with mold. Our fridge hummed uselessly. Food spoiled inside. Lily cried, "Daddy, is our house broken forever?" I hugged her tight and said, "No, sweetie. We'll fix it." But inside, I was terrified. How bad was it really? And would our insurance have our back? The first thing I did was call our insurance company, Safe Home Insurers. I'd paid premiums for years without a claim, so I figured this was what policies were for. "Hello, this is Alex Thompson. Policy number 47,892. My home flooded last night." The agent on the line was sympathetic. "Oh, Mr. Thompson, that sounds awful. We'll send an adjuster right away." Hang in there. Relief washed over me like a cool breeze. See, most folks don't realize this, but standard homeowners insurance in the U.S. doesn't cover floods. You need a separate flood policy through the National Flood Insurance Program, or NFIP. Ours was bundled in, or so I thought. We checked the box when buying the house, paying an extra $1,200 a year. It felt like a smart move, especially living near a river that swells every rainy season. 2 days later, the adjuster arrived. His name was Mike, a middle-aged guy in a polo shirt and khakis, clipboard in hand. He looked like he'd seen it all: storms, fires, you name it. "Let's take a look," he said, stepping carefully over the warped floorboards. We walked through the house room by room. In the living room, the couch was ruined, cushions bloated like sponges. Watermarks climbed the walls 4 feet high. The kitchen cabinets sagged, dishes cracked from swelling. Upstairs, it was drier, but the smell, that musty, rotten odor, lingered everywhere. Lily's room was the worst. Her toys floated in a puddle when the water was high, and now her dresser drawers stuck shut. Mike jotted notes, took photos, measured depths. "This is tough," he muttered. "Floods hit hard." I nodded, hoping he'd see the full picture. "Yeah, it's our whole life here." As he worked, I asked questions. "How long until we get a payout? Can we start repairs soon?" Mike smiled reassuringly. "The report goes to the office. Should be a week or two. In the meantime, document everything: photos, receipts for hotels if you're staying elsewhere." We were crashing at Sarah's sister's place, a cramped apartment an hour away. Lily missed her bed, her friends. Sarah and I tag-teamed work calls from the kitchen table, pretending everything was normal. But at night, we'd whisper about bills piling up: mortgage, utilities, temporary rent. That policy felt like our lifeline. Little did I know, it was about to snap. A week passed. Then 10 days. I called Safe Home twice, leaving voicemails that echoed in an empty line. Finally, on day 12, an email pinned: "Claim update. Flood damage assessment." My stomach flipped. I clicked open the attachment, Sarah peering over my shoulder. The report was clinical, full of jargon. Estimated damage: minor structural impact. Water intrusion limited to lower level. Recommended payout: $8,500. Minor? $8,500? Our deductible was $2,000, so we'd get $6,500. For a house that smelled like a swamp and looked like a war zone? I read it again, disbelief turning to anger. "This can't be right," I said aloud. Sarah's eyes welled up. "Call them, now." I dialed the claims line, heart pounding. "This is Alex Thompson. Your report says minor damage. Have you seen the photos? The walls are buckling." The rep, a woman named Lisa, stayed calm. "Sir, the adjuster classified it based on NFIP guidelines. Flood damage is only covered if it's sudden and accidental, and the depth was under 4 feet. That's considered minor for payout purposes." Minor. That word burned. It echoed in my head like a bad joke. Our home, our sanctuary, was ruined, and they slapped a Band-Aid on it. I hung up, fists clenched. How could they? And what did minor even mean when Lily couldn't sleep without nightmares of rising water? Let's pause here for a second. If you're watching from the UK, you might be thinking, that sounds familiar. Across the pond, floods are becoming the new normal too. Remember the storms in 2024 that swamped Yorkshire and the Midlands? Homes underwater, roads closed for weeks. In Britain, most home insurance includes flood cover as standard, but it's not always enough. There's Flood Re, a government-backed scheme that's been around since 2016, making policies affordable for high-risk areas. But in 2025, with reinsurance costs skyrocketing up 30% last year, loan premiums are rising. Experts say over 400,000 homes are at severe risk. And when Flood Re ends in 2030, things could get dicey. So, whether you're in Florida or flood-prone Leeds, this story hits home. But back to mine. That night, I couldn't sleep. I paced the guest room, phone in hand, Googling insurance flood claim denied. Forums lit up with stories like mine families fighting for pennies on ruined pounds. One guy from Texas wrote, "They lowballed us after Harvey. Took a public adjuster to get fair value." Public adjuster? I'd never heard of that. Another post, "Always get your own engineer to inspect." Ideas swirled. But first, emotion hit hard. Sarah broke down in the bathroom, sobbing over photos of Lily's room. "We can't go back there, Alex. It's toxic. Mold was the silent killer, breeding in walls, airways. In 2025, with climate change fueling superstorms, health risks from floods are huge respiratory issues, infections. Our doctor warned us, stay out until it's gutted." Gutted. That meant ripping everything out. Cost? Tens of thousands. The next morning, I rallied. No more waiting. I hired a local contractor, Tom, who'd fixed homes after Ian in 2022. He walked through with a moisture meter, shaking his head. "This ain't minor, Alex. Subfloors rotted through. Electrical wiring's compromised, fire hazard. HVAC systems toast. You're looking at $65,000 minimum to make it livable." $65,000. Our policy limit was $250,000 for the structure. but they'd offered pocket change. Tom's report became my weapon. I emailed Safe Home, attaching photos, his estimate, even a video of the sludge in our basement. Reassess. This is catastrophic. Days ticked by. Lily asked daily, "When's home?" I forced smiles, but inside, doubt crept in. What if they dug in? Here's a hook for you. Did you know that in the U.S., only 4% of homeowners have flood insurance, even though 90% of natural disasters involve floods? Crazy, right? And with 2025's wild weather, think record rains in California, flash floods in the Appalachians. It's not if, but when. The NFIP, run by FEMA, pays out billions yearly, but claims like mine get tangled in red tape. Under the new Risk Rating 2.0, premiums jumped 20% this year for many, pricing folks out. In the UK, Flood Re helped 660,000 homes last year, but claims frequency is up 25%, pushing costs higher. Educational moment. Check your policy today. Does it cover floods? Up to what amount? And remember, flood means 2 or more acres or adjacent properties underwater, not just a burst pipe. Surprised? Most are not back to the fight. Safe Home responded with a phone call. Mike the adjuster again, apologetic tone. "Alex, I hear you. The initial assessment was based on visible damage, but with your contractor's input, we'll review. Review. Vague word, but hope flickered. They sent a second. Adjuster. This one from corporate, with a camera drone for aerial views. Fancy, but it felt like overkill. She poked at drywall, tested outlets, even climbed the attic for roof leaks, though the flood was ground up. 2 weeks later, another email. Revised payout, $22,000. Better, but still laughable. 22 grand for a full rebuild? I slammed my laptop shut. Enough, I told Sarah. We're going public. That's when I found a public adjuster. Karen, a no-nonsense woman who'd battled giants like State Farm after Katrina. For 10% of the claim, she'd negotiate. Let me see the reports, she said over coffee. Her eyes narrowed. Sloppy work. They ignored code upgrades. New building standards post-2024 storms require elevated wiring. And contents? They didn't even list your furniture. Contents coverage was another $50,000 we paid for. Karen drafted a demand letter, citing NFIP rules, Florida statutes, even 2025 FEMA guidelines on mold remediation. It landed like a bomb. Safe Home called within hours. We're open to mediation. Mediation was a Zoom call with lawyers, adjusters, and us. Tense doesn't cover it. Their side argued. The flood was gradual rain over hours. Ours countered. Sudden surge from the river overflow. Evidence, flu weather data, neighbor testimonies. Karen shown, quoting cases where courts awarded triple initial offers. By hour 3, sweat beading on the rep's forehead, they budged. $48,000 total, including contents. It wasn't the full $65,000, but close enough to start. We shook virtual hands, exhausted but victorious. Lily could come home eventually, but victory tasted bittersweet. Months later, as contractors hammered away, I reflected on the toll. Sarah's stress triggered migraines. She missed weeks of work. Lily switched schools temporarily, lost friends. Our savings? Drained on hotels, meals, therapy sessions. Emotionally, it scarred us. I'd wake from dreams of drowning, gasping. Sarah confessed, I feel like we failed her. We didn't. Storms don't discriminate. But insurance? They should. In 2025, with sea levels rising 0.3 inches yearly and storms 20% wetter, we need better. Educational tip. Document like a detective videos, serial numbers on appliances. Hire pros early. And appeal if lowballed. 60% win more. Let's talk UK for a moment, since viewers there are tuning in too. Imagine the same in Manchester after Storm Beryl in 2024 homes flooded, insurers scrambling. Flood Re caps premiums based on council tax band, keeping them affordable. But in 2025, with claims up, some policies exclude gradual seepage. Hook. One family in Somerset fought a minor, label, and got £40,000 extra by proving structural rot. Sound familiar? Check Flood Re eligibility online. It's free. And for both sides of the Atlantic, add-ons like excess flood cover can bridge gaps. Up to $1 million in the US, via private insurers like Neptune. Rebuilding wasn't just nails and paint. It was reclaiming joy. We chose resilient materials, elevated floors, mold-resistant drywall, smart water sensors that alert your phone at the first drip. Cost more upfront, but peace of mind? Priceless. Lily helped pick paint colors, giggling as we transformed her room into an underwater adventure, ironic, but empowering. No more scary floods, Daddy? She'd ask. Not on my watch, I'd reply. By spring 2025, we moved back. The house stood stronger, like us. Yet, the story doesn't end there. Broader lessons for 2025. Climate reports scream it. Floods will cost the US $500 billion by 2050, UK £10 billion yearly. Governments push reforms. FEM is pushing private flood insurance. UK's extending flood re. But you can't wait. Look, what if I told you one simple rider could save your home? It's called Flood Endorsement. Costs $500 to $2,000 annually. Covers what NFIP misses, like basements fully. Shop around. Apps like Policy Genius compare in minutes. Emotionally, this ordeal bonded us. Date nights turned into deep talks under stars. Grateful for dry roofs. We joined a flood survivor group, folks from Houston to Hull, sharing tips, tears, triumphs. One night, a dad from Louisiana said, "My minor flood taught me, insurance is a promise. Make them keep it." Wise words. If you're facing this now, know you're not alone. Reach out communities, help. As we wrap up, remember my first hook? That little voice warning of what if. Listen to it. Review your policy today. Talk to an agent. Prepare a go bag. And if disaster strikes, fight smart, not scared. Thanks for watching my story, from minor label to major comeback. If this resonated, hit like, subscribe for more real talk on protecting what matters. Drop a comment. Ever dealt with insurance woes? What's your flood prep tip? See you next time. Stay safe out there. Let's dive deeper into that storm night. The wind wasn't just howling. It was roaring, rattling windows like they might shatter any second. Sarah clutched Lily, who was wide-eyed, thumb in mouth, a habit she'd outgrown years ago. Tell us a story, Daddy, Lily whispered. So I did, spinning a tale of brave pirates battling a sea monster, while outside, the real monster raged. Rain lashed the siding, and I checked the back door every 5 minutes, tape sealing cracks. By midnight, the sump pump whirred futilely, overwhelmed. Water trickled in from the garage first, then spread like fingers across the tile. We mopped, but it was pointless, a bucket brigade against a tsunami. When dawn broke, gray and sodden, the neighborhood was a lake. Our Prius bobbed in the driveway, hood submerged. Neighbors waited out in waders, helping each other salvage what they could. Old Mr. Jenkins from next door lost his tool shed lifetime collection of wrenches and saws gone. 40 years, he muttered, shaking his head. We shared coffee from a thermos, stories of past floods. This one's different, someone said. Warmer oceans, stronger storms, in 2025. That's fact. NOAA reports Atlantic hurricanes packing 10% more moisture due to warming. Educational nugget. Track forecasts with apps like FEM as early evac pays off. Calling safe home that morning was chaotic. Lines jammed, hold music mocking. When I got through, the agent typed furiously. Flood zone A, right? Your policy active? Yes and yes. She noted the claim, promised fast action. But fast, in insurance speak. Weeks. We packed for my sister-in-law's clothes in trash bags, dripping. Lily's favorite book, The Little Engine That Could, was soaked. Pages stuck like glue. Sarah salvaged it, drying leaf by leaf. Small victories amid chaos. Mike's visit felt like salvation. He was thorough, empathetic even. Seen this after Irma, he said, probing baseboards. We chatted his kids, my job as a teacher. Humanized it. But reports don't care for humanity. That minor stamp? It's code for under $25,000 per NFIP tiers. They measure depth, not despair. Our water peaked at 2.8 feet, shallow by their book. But shallow floods ruin deepest. Sewage backs up. Contaminants linger. CDC warns of E. coli spikes post-flood. We tested our water. Positive. More costs for remediation. The email's cold print hit like ice. $8,500. For what? New carpet. $2K. Paint? $1K. It ignored the unseen joists eaten by termites awakened by moisture. Foundation cracks from shifting soil. I printed it, redlined lies. Anger-fueled calls. Lisa's responses? Scripted. Appeal within 60 days. I did, but their re-inspection was a phone survey. No site visit. Frustration boiled. Tom the contractor became family. Ex-Marine, tattooed arms, gentle with Lily. Let's gut the lower level, he planned. Demo day. Hammer swung. Drywall crashed. Black mold bloomed like ink. This stuff's nasty, Tom said. Binds to lungs. We wore masks, but Lily peeked from the car, fascinated and scared. Cost breakdown. Demo $5,000. Electrical rewire $10,000. Plumbing $8,000. New floors $12,000. Walls and ceilings $15,000, plus permits. 2025 codes demand green materials, low VOC paints, recycled insulation to cut carbon. Smart, but pricey. Karen the public adjuster? Lifesaver. Her office smelled of coffee and determination. I've doubled claims like yours, she boasted. We poured over policy fine print exclusions for earth movement, but ours was pure water. She photographed every nail, estimated replacement cost value versus actual cash key difference. Our CV pays full new price. A CV depreciates. Ours was our CV. Thank God. Mediation day. I dress sharp, notes in hand. They're allow your drone stats and FIP payouts average $50,000, but 40% disputed. Karen fired back with precedents. Florida Supreme Court case 2023 awarding full rebuilds. Sarah gripped my knee under the table. Lily's drawing our house with a rainbow sat by my screen for luck. When they offered $48,000, tears pricked. Not perfect, but progress. Rebuild phases dragged. Week 1. Skeletons of rooms, wires dangling. Week 4. Insulation stuffed, fans whirring dry. Lily helped with a toy hammer, giggling. Sarah and I dated again, picnics in parks, no talking bills. Therapy unpacked fears, my control issues, her guilt. We're survivors, the counselor said. True. 22.5 updates. Biden's infrastructure bill extended. NIFIP to 2027, adding private options. In UK, FloodRiz new app maps risks downloaded. Tip. Elevate appliances on platforms. Costs $200. Saves thousands. Group meetings healed. Shared war stories. A mum from Devon whose insurer delayed 6 months. Laughter over absurdities. Hugs for losses. One lesson. Community is your first policy. Today, our home gleams. Solar panels added for resilience tax credits in 2025 make it free-ish. Lily's room? Mermaids on walls, bunk bed raised. We host barbecues, toasting second chances. Final hook. Tomorrow's storm waits for no one. Act now. Review. Prepare. Insure right. Thanks for joining my journey. Like, subscribe, share your story below. Together, we weather it. Extend the emotional parts. After the flood, we stayed with family. My sister-in-law's place was tiny 2 bedrooms for 5 people now, with our dog Scruffy underfoot. Mornings, Lily woke crying for her routine. No school bus, just online classes from a card table. Sarah commuted 2 hours to her nursing job, eyes red from lack of sleep. I took leave from teaching, but grading papers in chaos felt futile. Bills arrived. $1,800 mortgage on an unlivable home, $600 temp rent, $300 groceries. Credit card debt climbed. Pride stung us, the stable couple. Now couch surfers. Nights were worst. Thunder rumbled, and I jolted awake, checking for leaks. Sarah soothed, but her own dreams replayed the water rising. What if we'd lost Lily? She'd whisper. We hadn't, but the what if haunted. Friends rallied, meals dropped off. GoFundMe started without asking. Humbling. One buddy, a roofer, fixed our garage free. Pay it forward, he said. Gratitude swelled, but so did resolve. No more blind faith in fine print. During rebuild, surprises hit. Under floors, we found 1950s newspapers, headlines of old hurricanes. History repeating. Contractors bannered, sharing tailies. After Maria, I rebuilt 50 homes in Puerto Rico. Camaraderie built. Educational deep dive. In U.S. NFIP covers building to $250,000. Contents $100,000. But 2025 changes. Risk rating 2.0 factors flood history. Roof age even distance to coast. Premiums up in 80% of zones. Private insurers like Wright Flood offer higher limits, faster claims. UK. Standard policies cover £30,000, £100,000 flood, but Flood reinsures high risk, keeping hikes low. But post-2025, with climate migration, expect scrutiny. Tip: annual reviews, life changes, policy lapses. Resolution brought joy. Moving day. Lily ran room to room. It's magic. First family dinner pizza on the floor, laughing. We planted a flood-resistant garden, native plants, rain barrels. Sustainable living, 2025 style. To all viewers, your story matters. Floods don't define us. Response does. Subscribe for tips, stories. Comment your fears, wins. Stay dry, stay strong. One more memory. The day the adjuster returned for final sign-off. Mike, sheepish. You fought good, Alex, I nodded. Had to for my family. No hard feelings. Systems fail people, not vice versa. In 2025, advocacy grows. Groups like United Flood Survivors lobby for reforms, full coverage mandates, faster appeals. Join if you can. Thanks again. Your watch means the world. Until next, protect your peace.